Hello learners, welcome to this agriculture project lesson. In this video, we will explain task 1, which is about constructing a poultry fold. A poultry fold is a simple structure used to keep poultry, and it is supposed to be safe so that it can protect the birds from bad weather, predators, theft and injury. In this project, you are supposed to work as a group of 2 to 5 learners, and every group member must take part in the work. You will first plan the project. You will then collect the required materials and tools. After that, you will construct the poultry fold. So you're also supposed to make some presentations so that you can refine and correct your procedure. The poultry fold constructed should be secure, affordable, environmentally friendly, and suitable for the birds. Let us now look at each question carefully and determine how we should go about it. Question A. List the tools, equipment, and materials required to construct the poultry fold. And this question carries 5 marks. This question requires you to identify everything you will need before the construction begins. You should separate the items into 3 groups. And the groups are tools, equipment and materials. So let us begin with tools. What are tools? Tools are items that you hold while you are working. They are just the things that you use while working. And for this project, there is a list of tools that you are going to need, and I'm going to list them. So you may find that you need more. So depending on what you are constructing and the materials you have decided to use for your poultry fold, you should add them, or you should add some or remove some from this list. And those I identified include a hammer, a hand saw, a tape measure, a pair of pliers, a panga, a spade, a hoe, a screwdriver, a spirit level, a marking pencil. So you may add others maybe which I have not mentioned, or remove one which you think you are not going to use. And let me state the use of each of these tools. A hammer is used to drive nails into timber. A hand saw is used to cut pieces of wood. A tape measure is used to measure the length, the width and the height of the poultry fold. And then pliers are used to hold, to cut or to twist wires. Then a panga may be used to clear the vegetation and cut small pieces of wood. A spade and a hoe may be used when preparing the ground or when digging holes, especially the ones to use for the poles. And then a screwdriver is used when working with screws to drive them in and out. And then a spirit level will help you to check whether the structure is straight. And then a marking pencil is used to mark the places where the timber will be cut. And with that, you are done with that part. So now with the tools part, now let us go to the equipment. Now equipment refer to items that help you to complete the work safely and correctly. And for this project, you may need the following equipment. So the list of equipment you can add or remove again if depending on what you are constructing. But the ones I identified include a wheelbarrow, a ladder, a bucket, protective gloves, safety boots, overalls, and safety goggles. Now a wheelbarrow is used to carry soil, timber, stones, or other materials. And a ladder helps you to reach the upper part of the structure. Then a bucket may be used to carry water or mix small amounts of mortar. And then protective clothing like the gloves and the overalls will help to prevent any kind of injuries as you work on the poultry fold. Then thirdly, let us talk about the materials. And materials are the items used to make the poultry fold. So these are things that you need to gather to help you construct the poultry fold. And you may use timber posts, wooden planks, you may use nails, screws, wire mesh, roofing sheets, you need the hinges, and also for the door you need a door latch. You may also need cement, sand, stones if you are going to use some stones in the foundation. You may need water, you may need wood of cuts, strong poles for the corners, and maybe some recycled materials that are safe to use for your projects. Now, the timber posts form the main support of the structure. and then the wooden planks are used to make the frame and the walls. And then the wire mesh allows air and light to enter while keeping the birds safe. So there should be actually a part where there is wire mesh. Everything should not be closed up with wood, because wire mesh will allow ventilation. And then roofing sheets protect the birds from rain and strong sunlight. And then the hinges will allow the door to open and close securely. And then a strong latch will keep the door secure. So then again, you also need cement, sand, stones, and water, which will be used to strengthen the floor or the posts. Now, you do not have to use every item mentioned here. Just choose the materials that are available in your area. And the materials, number one, they should be strong. They should also be safe and affordable for you. Do not use anything sharp, rotten, or dangerous for you and the birds. And before starting, check that all tools and materials are ready, so that you will not stop along the way because you lack something. You need to gather everything together before you can start the construction. And that with that, question A is done. Now let us go to question B. And question B says, describe the procedure for constructing the poultry fold. And this part is 8 marks. So this question asks you to explain the steps you will follow. So you should write the steps in the correct order from the first one up to the last one, and do not begin construction without a plan. So as you do your construction, you first need to come up with a plan. That is why this question is very important. So I will tell you the plan that I came up with in steps. I will start with step 1 all the way to the last one. Step 1, choose a suitable site. Now select a dry and well-drained area. The place should not flood when it rains, and it should have enough sunlight and fresh air. It should also be away from dirty water and any kind of waste. And the site should be safe from predators and thieves. Then step number 2, decide the size of the poultry fold. So think about the number of birds that will be kept in the fold, because the poultry should have enough space for the birds to move freely. So avoid making it too small, because overcrowding can cause diseases, it can cause injuries and also poor growth. Then step number 3, draw a simple plan. Now here you are supposed to make a simple drawing of the poultry fold. Show the position of the door, the walls, the roof, the windows, maybe the feeding area and the resting area. And then write the measurements on the drawing. So the drawing will guide the group during construction. That drawing is going to come in handy when you are constructing. Then step number 4, clear and measure the site. So remove grass, stones, rubbish and unwanted plants. And then use a tape measure to mark the length and the width of the structure. Use pegs and strings to show the corners, and check that the corners are properly braced. And then step number 5, prepare the foundation. So in preparing the foundation, you are supposed to dig holes where the main posts will be placed. The holes should be deep enough to hold the post firmly. And then place the posts in the holes and make sure that the posts are upright. And then fix the holes with soil, with stones, with concrete, whatever you need to keep them firm. Then allow the posts to become firm before continuing. That is step 5. Then step number 6 is to construct the frame. And in this step, join the posts using wooden planks or strong poles. So make the lower frame, the side frame and the roof frame. And then use nails or screws to join the pieces. Then check that the frame is strong and also very straight. So by the time you are done with step 6, you have the frame ready. Then step number 7, make the walls. So cover the sides using timber, wire mesh or other safe materials that you have decided to use as a group. And then part of the wall may be solid to protect the birds from wind and rain, and another part should have wire mesh. Remember, we said that this will help for ventilation. And then make sure that there are no openings where the predators can enter and maybe cause harm to the birds. Then with that, go to step number 8. And step 8, fix the roof. Now attach the roofing materials firmly. The roof should be sloping so that rainwater can flow away. It should extend slightly beyond the walls, and this will help to stop any rainwater from entering the poultry fold. That is step 8. Then step number 9, make and fix the door. Now for the door, you need to construct a strong door and then attach it to the main poultry using hinges. We said about hinges. And then fix a latch that can close properly. Now the door should be wide enough for a person to enter and clean the fold. Then step number 10, prepare the floor. So the floor should remain dry and easy to clean. You may use a raised wooden floor, or maybe you can do a concrete floor, or you can do a farm soil floor. So depending on the materials that are available for you, choose the type of floor that you are going to use. And then cover the floor with maybe clean litter. You can maybe cover it with wood shavings or dry grass, anything, but do not use wet or moldy litter. Make sure that it is all dry. With that, you are done with the floor part, and then go to step number 11. So for step 11, you should add facilities for the birds. So this is where you are supposed to provide feeders and drinkers. You should also provide perches where appropriate, provide nesting boxes for birds that are going to lay eggs, and then place these items where they can be reached and cleaned easily. With that, you are done with step 11 after providing facilities for the birds. Then step number 12 is to inspect the completed poultry fold. So here you should check the whole structure carefully, remove any sharp nails, remove any loose wires, remove any rough edges, and make sure that the roof does not leak. Then confirm that the door closes securely, and then check that fresh air can enter. This is the part of the wire mesh. So with that, the poultry should now be safe for the birds, and you are done with the steps. Now let us go to question C, and it says, in your own group of 2 to 5 members, present how you have planned to construct the poultry fold. This part is 4 marks. Now this question requires every learner to take part in group presentation. It is about presenting. You can maybe use a PowerPoint to present, or just have some notes that are going to help you in making the presentation. The presentation is supposed to explain your construction plan. So you are not constructing poultry fold at this stage yet. You are explaining how you plan to do it. So you are saying what is going to be done when constructing, and this is what to include in the presentation. So begin by stating the purpose of the project. For example, our group plans to construct a safe and affordable poultry for keeping birds. You see, a poultry fold. And then next, describe the site you have selected and explain why the site is suitable. For example, you can say that we have selected a dry area that receives fresh air and does not flood. And then with that, you can go ahead and show your simple drawing, and then explain the measurements and the main parts of the structure using that drawing if you have it. And then mention the materials that you plan to use. So when mentioning the materials, explain why you selected those materials. An example is, we will use locally available timber because it is affordable and easy to obtain. And then explain the construction steps in the correct order. Also, explain how you keep the group safe, because safety matters a lot. Then you can, for example, mention the protective clothing that will be used, like the gloves and the overalls. And then explain how the work will be shared among the group members. So when it comes to sharing the responsibilities during presentation, because this presentation maybe you are doing it in your class, and as a group you need to share responsibilities. When sharing responsibilities, one learner may explain the site and the measurements. Another learner can talk about the tools and materials. Another learner can explain the procedure of the construction. Another learner can explain about the safety measures that you have planned to use. And another learner can just show the whole drawing and explain it. Now, at the end of the day, every learner is supposed to speak and demonstrate something. Do not allow only one learner to make the whole presentation, because a presentation is going to show that you are working together as a group if each one of you is going to take part. So to avoid losing points here, when you are doing the presentation, you should speak clearly and loudly. You should also use simple words, and then hold the drawing. If you are showing the drawing, hold the drawing where everyone can see it. And also another important tip I'll give you, listen carefully when other groups are presenting, because their ideas may help you improve your own plan. Remember, at this point, you have a plan, yes, but it is not final. So as you listen to other groups, they may help you to polish up your own plan and come up with the best poultry fold. So with that, after doing your presentations, you are ready to go to question D. And question D, this is what it says. So it says that discuss the presentations and agree on how to get the materials, the tools and equipment, and then write a refined procedure for constructing the poultry fold. So this question is 5 marks and it comes after the presentations. Now think about it. A refined procedure is an improved procedure. Remember, you already have a procedure, but you are supposed to refine it. To refine is to make it better. So your group must discuss the ideas that were presented, and then you should identify the ideas that are safe, practical and affordable. So when discussing the presentations, you should begin by comparing the different plans and then asking yourself some questions. It is called brainstorming. When as a group members you have a list of questions that you are asking and every member is answering and contributing, it is called brainstorming. So these are some of the questions that you can brainstorm with your group. I will give you a list of them. You can write them down, then go and talk about them with your group. For example, which site is most suitable? Talk about the site. Then, which materials are available locally? Which design will protect the birds the best way? Which plan is affordable? Which poultry fold is going to be affordable if you do it as a group? Then which tools can be borrowed? Which materials can be reused safely? Which procedure is the easiest way to follow? And then, as you talk about these ideas, listen carefully to every group member. Do not reject an idea without discussing it first. And then choose the best ideas together, because everyone is contributing. Choose the best ones and then agree on how you are going to get the resources. Because remember, for you to construct that poultry fold, at the end of the day, you need to gather all these resources. So make a clear list of the tools, equipment and materials. So to determine how you are going to get the resources, first of all, make a list of them. So write where each item will come from. After you write the list, you have this item and then write where it will come from. Some materials may be bought. For example, the screws, the nails. If you don't have them, you might need to buy. Or if your school is providing them, the better for you. Then some materials can be borrowed from the school or the community. Some can be donated. Others may already be available at home or in school. And then some materials may be reused. So you are just looking at every material, tool and equipment and determining where you are going to get it from if it is not already provided for you. And let me give you an example. A hammer may be borrowed from the school workshop, and timber may be bought from a local supplier, or use some timber if you have them in school. Then maybe strong poles may be collected with the teacher's permission. You can collect them and use. But make sure that if you decide to do any step and you are not sure about it, consult with your teacher so that you are not going to use something that you don't have permission to use. Now, do not collect materials without permission, and make sure that clean wood is used. And some of them may be reused, Maybe there is some wood that were used for another construction, and as your group, you are allowed to use it again. So look at those things that can be reused. And because at this juncture, it is about you collecting and gathering all the materials that you are going to need when constructing your poultry fold. And then also in this question, you are writing the refined procedure. So after the discussion, write one final procedure. And the procedure should include different things. Remember, we already talked about procedure in the other question, but now here we are talking about the refined procedure. I already gave you the best I have, but after listening to the presentations and the ideas from your teacher, the correction, because your teacher will correct you, now refine your procedure. And the refined procedure should include some of these things: the selected site, the drawing of the plan, and then taking of the measurements, clearing the site, digging post holes, fixing the posts, constructing the frame, making the walls, fixing the roof, constructing the door, and preparing the floor. You know, this should all be in your procedure. Also in your procedure, you can include adding feeders, drinkers, perches, and nesting boxes for the birds. And also, the last thing should be inspecting the completed structure. That is important to say that you are inspecting to make sure that everything is in place. Then now, write down the steps in the order they will be performed. Do not write maybe step 3 before step 1. Make sure that they are in the correct order. Then add any useful ideas that you learned from the presentations and remove any steps that are unsafe or unnecessary. So make sure that the final procedure is accepted by all group members, because this is your refined final procedure. Then with that, you are done with D. So now we go to question E. And what is question E about? Question E says, assemble the materials, tools, and equipment and construct the poultry fold. Now this part is also 8 marks, and this is the practical part of the project. Now here, your group will now use the final plan to construct the poultry fold. And before construction begins, you need to assemble all the required items and then place the tools in a safe area. So as a group, make sure that you have assembled all the items and they are kept in a safe area. And then once you have those materials, arrange them according to how they will be used. Check that the tools are in good condition, and do not use a tool with a loose handle maybe, or some that is broken, and others that have sharp exposed edges. Make sure that they are safe to use. Then wear protective clothing before beginning the work. So when constructing, work as a group and follow the refined procedure. Then share the work fairly among the group members. And some learners may measure and mark the site, for example. Others can be preparing the post. Some may hold the material while another learner is joining them. You know, constructing the poultry fold need you to work together. For example, one learner may be carrying the materials or cleaning the work area, while the other is helping in fixing the poles. You see, change the roles where necessary. If maybe a certain task is tiring, you can keep shifting and changing with one another, but at the end of the day, no learner should remain inactive. Every one of the group members should take part in the construction. Now, when constructing, it is important to follow the safety rules. So, for each tool, it should be used for the correct purpose. Every tool must be used for its correct purpose. And then carry sharp tools with the pointed part facing down, and do not run while carrying tools, so use them safely. Also, keep your fingers away from the cutting areas and do not leave nails, wires, or tools on the ground. Then use a ladder on a firm ground, because a ladder should be placed securely before you use it. And one learner should hold the ladder maybe while the other one is climbing. Then you can ask the teacher for help when lifting heavy materials. If there is something you are not able to lift, you can always ask for help. Also, do not attempt a dangerous activity to impress others, because safety is more important than speed or impressing anyone. Then, check the quality of the work and measure carefully during construction, because when you are constructing, remember that there are those measurements you are measuring, so make sure everything is measured correctly. Then check that the posts are upright, they should not be slanting, and check that the frame is firm. You see, we already talked about this in the procedures. Then also during construction, make sure that the roof is properly attached and ensure that the door opens and closes easily. These are just some of the things to check when you are constructing. And with this, you are going to be sure that your group is going to come up with the best poultry fold. And then when you are done constructing the poultry fold, inspect it as a group. So when inspecting, you can ask yourself some questions. Is the structure strong? You can try to see if it is strong. Is the roof secure? Is it well secured? Does the door close properly? Is there enough ventilation, depending on where you put the wire mesh? Is the floor dry and easy to clean? Are there any sharp objects that may injure the birds? It is good to look at that. And then, can predators enter through any opening? So make sure everything is closed. Is there enough space for the birds? And then, once you ask yourself these questions, you can now correct any problem that you find. And with that, you are going to now see that you have the final and the best poultry fold that you could do, depending on the materials that you have. Because after final inspection, you are supposed to present the completed poultry field to the teacher for assessment. So you are doing your inspection on your own before you can ask your teacher to do the assessment. And when assessing, that is when you are answering these questions, correcting anything wrong you find, and then ensure that everything is correct. Then ask your teacher to assess it. I am glad that you have watched the video up to this far. You have now learned how to complete task 1 of the agriculture project. You should be able to identify the tools and materials, explain the construction procedure, present your plan, improve the plan, and construct the poultry fold safely. So read the project instructions again before beginning and ask your teacher for guidance whenever you are unsure. Then work carefully, cooperate with your group, and take pride in your work because this is your project. And then watch other videos that we have for more guidance on the Kenya Junior Secondary School Education Assessment project. Now, I'm so glad that this video was helpful to you. Please do share it with your fellow learners so that they can also understand the project. And you may also want to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notifications bell because we have a lot of useful videos which are also going to be resourceful for you when you transition to senior school. Thank you so much for watching and all the best in your agriculture project. Construct the best poultry fold. Bye.